do rock concerts, drag racers, wind turbines, cattle grazing, and oil derricks have in common. They are all activities taking place on state trust land, earning money for the state of New Mexico.
State land law is very important to New Mexico. Our job is to produce income off of 13 million acres of state land that was given to us in the late 1800s. We have land in every county except one in New Mexico. Last year we generated about $1,000 per student in New Mexico.
What happens when you go by somebody?
Trust income is earned in a variety of ways, the most significant being oil and gas development. For example, last year at the land office we received approximately $236 million in oil and gas royalties. And that was money that was paid into the Land Grant Permanent Fund in the last fiscal year. It's a big chunk of money, and as we all know, most of it goes to the Land Grant Permanent Fund for education. Here's how it works.
These industry representatives are bidding for oil and gas leases on trust lands.
$664,000 going twice. Sold for $664,000.
For every barrel of oil extracted from trust land, producers pay a per barrel fee. The historic average has been in the range of $25 to $35 a barrel. Current prices are at about $40 to $41 a barrel, and the land office royalty is calculated as 1/8 of the producer's share, so we're getting 1/8 of the price that the producers are producing the oil for.
Several minerals are mined on state trust lands. One of them is potash, used in crop fertilizers. In fact, more potash is produced in New Mexico than anywhere else in the country. Here we are inside a potash mine near Carlsbad in southern New Mexico, 800 feet below the surface.
There are only 3 mines operating down here. We are the biggest one. So yeah, we're the biggest potash mine around. And even as far as any kind of mining goes, we produce about 23,000 tons a day hoisted, which is, for any underground operation, that's a pretty good sized mine.
Royalties from potash mining kicked another $500,000 into the Land Grant Permanent Fund last year.
The money flows into the Land Grant Permanent Fund somewhat like a reservoir. The money comes into the land office, it's then deposited into the Land Grant Permanent Fund, and then it flows out from the Land Grant Permanent Fund by allocation through the legislature, primarily from the Land Grant Permanent Fund, about 85% of it to educational purposes.
And these students get more than money from the land office. They get an education as well. Here, students from Santa Fe's Chaparral Elementary learn valuable lessons about river revitalization.
The little bits of green grass coming up. Yeah. We're trying to get more of that to grow. That's a native grass called western wheatgrass. And as it grows, it stabilizes this bank so that the rain doesn't erode it into the river. It provides habitat for birds and small mammals and insects. So as it grows, the river just gets nicer and nicer as a place for people to be and as a place for wildlife to be. You know, we're helping them take care of what's really their land. They're learning about river restoration. They're learning about, you know, just how hard work it is to take care of land, especially in a dry climate like New Mexico. And then the added benefit and the added purpose is we're getting a lot of labor into our project from these school kids. You can look around and you can see how hard they're working.
During the summer, David Koss teaches kids to plant native trees and grass along the Santa Fe River in an effort to restore it to its natural state. And for parents, it's an opportunity to teach through hands-on life lessons.
Not getting close to the edge. You're just going to slide it in.
It's really fun. Yeah, I think it's a good project, I really do. And we need to preserve our land for our kids, so I think this is the best route to get it, and then get them involved, I think, is the best thing.
I think it's better for the animals, so we see more wildlife here.
More than 100 mineral leases are managed by the Trust's Mineral Resources Division. Some of those are for extraction of sand and gravel used in roads and construction, among other uses. Some of the state's 13 million acres of trust lands are used to create economic development opportunities by way of commercial leases. The Journal Pavilion Concert Arena at Mesa del Sol, just south of Albuquerque, is such an example of a commercial lease. Another is the Albuquerque National Dragway, also located at Mesa del Sol.
In addition to just coming out here and having a good time for a little bit of money, it's also having the drag strip open is a great savings to taxpayers, as well as being a safety issue for the community. When law enforcement all over the state, when these racers come in from Santa Fe and Roswell and Albuquerque, those agencies in those cities have to devote less time, less money to stopping the street racers when they're all out here at the drag strip. So it ends up saving the taxpayers money in the long run to come out to the drag strip, in addition to the obvious safety benefits. Racing knows no age or gender. There are male, female racers of all age groups. The common misconception is that street racers are high school kids with little Hondas, and that's just not the case. We have racers in their 70s that race out here, male and female both.
Oh, it means so much to us, because this is something that we can go every weekend or every other weekend, usually every weekend, and have a good time and enjoy yourselves and play it safe, where it's safe for everybody, for all, yes. Well, the first year that I started racing, this place was still down, closed. So I was racing in Roswell, but we couldn't race every weekend. It's too far to be traveling to Roswell and gets very costly. So now that it's open, we love it.
By capturing the power of wind, low-cost, environmentally friendly electricity can be generated. Commissioner Lyons supports clean and renewable sources of electrical power. That's why he has signed 2 leases to develop wind farms on trust lands in Quay County. The New Mexico Wind Energy Center, located near Howes in southeast New Mexico, generates enough wind energy to power a city the size of Santa Fe. Not only do renewable energy projects provide clean, cost-effective, non-polluting renewable energy, they also create jobs in rural New Mexico and provide another way to earn more revenue for New Mexico's school children.
The public schools are the main beneficiary of all the lands. The University of New Mexico is a beneficiary. The New Mexico State University is a beneficiary. Carrie Tingley Hospital is a beneficiary. And the Corrections Department is one of our beneficiaries. So there are lands. Each piece of land has a specific beneficiary. And whatever money is generated on that land ends up going to that beneficiary. We have about 9 million acres of surface lands. Most of those lands are being used for cattle ranching, and then sheep ranching, and then some goats, and then the smaller portions of it are for irrigation.
In 2003, agricultural lease rentals generated more than $7 million for the trust.
The largest lessee for the state land is down by Roswell, and that actual in one block is almost 100,000 acres. The Navajo Nation is another one of our lessees. They're about 90,000 acres, and then we have lessees down to as little as 360 acres. So we have a myriad of ranchers, and we have a myriad of sizes that we have to deal with.
In 2003, the Field Operations Division implemented more than 30 projects statewide in a continuing effort to preserve and restore trust lands.
Jeremy, did you get a weather forecast for this afternoon?
Those projects include working with other agencies to minimize damage in case of fire. Here we see staff clearing trees to create a fire break that will help firefighting efforts in the event of a blaze.
Well, we're trying to work cooperatively with the Park Service to address the increasing fire danger on our state lands and in our national parks. What we're trying to do is cut some of these trees to reduce the fuel loading, so if a fire does start, it won't turn into something catastrophic. So much of the land pattern out here is what we call checkerboard, where you have one square of one agency and another square of a different agency, and so we're all sort of intermingled amongst each other, so it's real important for us to try to work together, because when we do have a bad fire, it's going to affect everybody.
Unfortunately, some trespassers have trashed trust lands. State Land Office staff work with local governments in cleanup efforts in blighted areas like this one, south of Santa Fe. This year, Land Office staff and volunteers picked up about 100,000 tons of trash and began a campaign titled "Don't Trash the Trust." Trespassing isn't allowed on public lands in an effort to prevent any more illegal dumping of potentially caustic materials. In northwest New Mexico, the Site Stewardship Program works to protect ancient Native American defense towers, known as pueblitos. Here at Pork Chop Pass, Navajo stone masons meticulously remortar these ancient defense structures to prevent further deterioration. They use surrounding soil to make the mortar and to give the pueblitos the same appearance they were found in. Land Commissioner Lyons and his staff are committed to excellence, seeking out innovative opportunities not only to maximize revenues for the trust, but also to provide economic development and to preserve our vast natural resources as well.
We have a plan from start to finish so that that is reclaimed, and we work with every agency possible to get any permits that are needed so that when the land starts out this way, after it's finished, we try and get it back to exactly that way as much as we can.
I hope you learned a lot about the New Mexico State Land Office. I'm Commissioner Patrick Lyons. Our job is to maximize revenues for education in a sustainable way. Please stop in and visit us at our website or the New Mexico State Land Office.